Hey everyone. So today we're having a look not at a map but at a magazine that Mandy sent me. This one's from March 1970. It has a title page that says here "The Great Hemline Hassle," and it's about the return of the midi skirt, so the longer ones. Mandy writes, she thought that the mini skirts actually stayed around for much longer, but apparently there was a big discussion in the 70s on how long the skirts should be. And there are plenty of oddities here in this magazine, so let's have a look through it. We have plenty of adverts, and I really like looking at old adverts. What always fascinates me is how much text there is. Do you think anyone actually read that? I feel like today it's really mostly just images and then a couple of big words like here. But let's see what it says. The West Clock's town crier is a great new electric clock and a lot of clock for the money. It pleasantly chimes out the hours and sounds a single note on every half hour. I feel like town crier might not be the best name. It doesn't sound like it would make a pleasant chime. But it's versatile. It's traditionally designed, as you can see here, to go with any kind of furniture, and it comes in 3 colors: wood tone, avocado, and harvest. And that sounds very 70s, right? It can be hung on a wall or simply set on a table or a desk. And the crystal is shatterproof. There's a sweep second hand. This is quite terrifying. Fear makes our moving man show up on time. Fear stands for free expression of appreciation or revenge. It's your answer to the moving man who thinks it's fashionable to arrive late. After each move, we send you a fear card asking you to express your opinion of us. The cards come back to the management, and if we get comments like, "The guy showed up 4 hours late," somebody has some fast explaining to do. Fear works so well though, we rarely get comments like this. But 95% of the cards we get back say they're happy with our moving man, our packing crews, you name it. So let's see what we have here. There's a story on the integration bus box down. Washington's new soft line on school integration stirs up resentment and wars. Why the ideal of schools without discrimination cannot be abandoned now, by Leon Panetta. The editorial, it just says unpopular but crucial goal. I'm not sure what that refers to. Then there'll be some pictures of Nepal's right royal wedding. And we get to the hemline hustle. Here we have Westney as the top, and here comes Wilt, which is about basketball, I think. It's here the Lakers. These are things that are kind of difficult to understand, I guess, if you're neither from the US nor from the time period. I don't know who Jerry West is. I don't know who Wilt Chamberlain is. And I have heard of the Lakers, but it's kind of one of the words that just turn up when you watch US media. Then we have a praise of mountain lions, the deceptive hitchhiker, and the house made of spray. Mandy mentioned this one as well. It's quite wild. This is shaped of burlap. I've only skimmed some of the texts. Again, I feel like there are so many comments in there and notes that I would just have to look up. I'm not that familiar with 1970 and what that meant for politics in the US. Introducing Audi, the revolutionary new car from Germany that moves, stops, turns, etc. differently from every car on the opposite page. It says almost every car in the world moves by means of the rear wheels pushing it, but the Audi moves by means of the front wheels pulling it. It's quite an experience. Now you have some images by Jan Weborg, an industrial photographer from Sweden who experiments with new techniques. Another car advert, this time for a Volvo. It asks, do you arrive with less car than you started with? If so, you ought to consider a Volvo. I do hope that didn't happen too often, but who knows? A lifetime book on family finance. Yours free for a 10-day trial. Again, so much info here. And you could cut out this bit here and write your name, address, city, state, and zip code. Yes, please send me a copy of the Time Life Book of Family Finance. I kind of love this picture too. There's April, Pamela, Faith, Mrs. Dunthorne, Jessica, Mr. Dunthorne, and Celeste. And it's an advert for a Maytag, I guess it's washing machine. A Maytag washer. I don't think it's a brand I've ever heard of. Here says, no man wants the same thing every night. Be creative with rice. Unpotato the man in your life, starting tonight. Let your imagination run rice, like rice au gratin, scalloped rice with cheese, parsley rice, etc., etc. The ricety. I don't know if it's that great. Here's an advert for air conditioning. They heat or cool homes, buildings, ships, cars, everything. They make plant refrigeration systems, ice makers in Canada. A Chevrolet ad. A few smaller cars cost less, and that's what they're worth. Again, a beautiful 70s color on this car. It's almost like it's mostly adverts, really. Here we have the face of the Hoover Dam. And Joanne Didion was quite fascinated by it. She writes, I had better tell you first about the pull it has on me, that place, that thing, that idea, whatever it is you would call Hoover Dam. I first saw Hoover Dam on a burning afternoon in 1967, a day when I was in Las Vegas and wanted to be somewhere else, and so, in the dull trance induced by having an air-conditioned car when the temperature is 110, drove on out through the desert to the nearest large feature on the map, Lake Mead, the Colorado River, the Nevada-Arizona line. I would see the dam. I would watch the Bureau of Reclamation movie. I would forget Las Vegas for an hour or so, and then I would drive back and forget whatever it was I had seen. But since that afternoon in 1967, the image of Hoover Dam has never been entirely absent from my inner eye. She was quite fascinated by it. So this is the story about the school segregation. It's an issue with the buses. In Denver, this Reverend James Miller is a leader of anti-busing movement. In Los Angeles, which faces racial busing of 240,000 students next fall, school buses leave parking lot at dawn. This is what we see here. Here in Denver, a third of the school fleet was put out of commission when bombers sabotaged the buses. The bombs were carefully set under each gas tank, and the explosions and fires totally destroyed 23 vehicles and extensively damaged another 15. You can see the picture here. So it's quite a long story with a lot of info. Again, I have to admit I've only skimmed parts of it. And here, this is the editorial, unpopular but crucial goal. So it's about the school segregation story. It says here, school integration and a rightful place in society for blacks must remain a national goal. The way there may be intricate and tempestuous, but the movement toward it must be real. So here images of the royal wedding in Nepal. There are 5 elephants which highlighted the procession. 500 retained portraits of fruit, sweet cakes and other gifts, which we can see here. They are from the groom to his bride. The part that would interest me, the presents included 25 shades of nail polish and several dry loads of Max Factor skin freshener. I would take the 25 shades of nail polish. There are thousands of people that flocked from different valleys to observe the pageantry. The wedding ceremony itself, however, took place in private in the middle of the night. I don't know, they look a bit unconvinced, I guess. Or maybe they've just been waiting a long time. Another car advert for a Ford. And then here we have the hemlines. Onward and downward. So here on the right hand side, these women are protesting the Dior inspired new look shown above in a contemporary life photograph as interpreted by American designers on its introduction to this country. In those days, so in 1947, addicts from Paris were a law to the fashion conscious. Hems dropped from coast to coast seemingly overnight. And it says here, please save us. Do you want to look like this? So clearly they weren't happy with this kind of fashion. Here on the right, I'm kind of fascinated. It almost looks like the heel of the shoe is clear, which would make it really fashionable right now, I guess. But the style here on which the US fashion industry is literally staking its money is illustrated in a plastic midi outfit by Luba, which at the time cost $95. In 1 week, Bonwit Teller sold its entire supply, and the buyer said we've ordered 100 more. But many stores are waiting to see how the style catches on before a serious commitment. I'm not sure if a plastic midi outfit would have been all that comfortable to wear. She has here that large collar that I guess would become typical for the 70s, with the relatively short sleeves. Plenty of accessories with these long necklaces. I do wonder what the color actually look like. It has quite an orange tone in here, but I guess that would make sense for 1970. So let's see what they're saying here. Molly Parnes says this is 1970, not the 30s. I do believe in a varied wardrobe, but I will not be dictated to by a few French and Italian designers. So I guess she wanted to keep the skirts short. Shakti4 says, damn the past, I will not be pushed around by women's wear daily. And Pauline Tricher, the longer length clothes are unhappy fashions. They're against anything modern. Coco Chanel, on the other hand, thought that miniskirts were indecent, an exhibition of meat. And down here we have Shira Pipa or Pipart. The waistline changed this season and the hem had to change with it. So I guess this is a bit more bulky. Mark Bowen says it's a new cycle prepared for by the wearing of pants. I don't really know what that means. Bill Blass thinks it depends on the dame and her mood, so I guess it's up to you what you want to wear. And Pierre Cardin thinks the quarrel about the hem is a phony one. Over here we have Arnold Scalzi. It's for the sophisticated women. I think the kids are going to be thrilled that their mothers aren't going to look like them. I guess this is very true. Valentino says, I was the only Italian couturier to believe in the new length. I wanted a return to elegance after so many years of bad taste. Then down here we have Hubert de Givenchy. The long length gives women a more delicate and languid look. I have always lingered around the knee. And James Gallagher says, my statement is completely long. I cater to a very stylish element of woman of a certain age who will wear the midi length. Which I find funny to me, midi length is not completely long. You could add a bit more. I'm not really a fan, I have to say, of this particular length. I can't think of any time when it would have been popular during my lifetime. So to me it just looks really old-fashioned, and I think if I wore a length of that skirt it would just make me look really short. This one looks so strange to me. This dark blue dress with this white detail here. Madame Pompidou admitted she came to the US as a champion of the midi. On the dress at left, she said, President Nixon told me he liked my cardigan with the split. The midi left here costs $240, so that would have been quite expensive. Adolfo, who designed it, says some of his private customers are buying the same outfit in different colors, 3 and 4 at a time. So here's the part about the Los Angeles Lakers with Wilt Chamberlain and furiously training to rejoin. Is this Wilt Chamberlain? I'm not sure. Oh, and this would be Cherry West. I do think this is a great photo. And speaking of short hemlines, these are pretty short shorts. I think the worst advert in here is probably this one, where it says wives read this and husbands read this. Let's not read it. Here's a bit about mountain lions. This article is outrageously unfair to sheep, farmers, hunters, the US Wildlife Service, and others. But there's another article that I wanted to look at. It's an advert for beer. There, and this is, I guess, about prejudice when it comes to how people are dressed. Which would you pick up? Guess again. It says here, a college study shows clothes don't make the man. So, you're driving along alone and the turnpike's moving slowly. Be nice to have someone to talk to. There's a kid at the roadside thumbing a ride, but he seems to come in 4 different models. Let's see. The first one's well dressed. Surprised he's not driving his own sports car. A fraternity man. Could even side with Spiro about campus radicals. Again, I have no idea what that means. The second fellow, a little sloppy but looks safe. Probably cutting a class. He's got a girl in Ohio. That's where they're trying to go. At least he won't talk politics. The third guy is harder to figure. May have some ideas on the bad hair and some pot in his pocket. Seen a few demonstrations. The fourth one, no problem. Communes, Canada, pigs. He'll keep the conversation flying. Looks will tell, clothes make the man. Communes I get, Canada and pigs. No clue. No clue at all. And then it says a new study at the University of Dayton indicates that if you try to judge a student's attitude by his appearance, you will be wrong almost exactly half the time. And they followed this up with this advert. Join us for a true bourbon. Come over soon, we have something good for you. The taste of 10 High, a true bourbon of character and quality, etc., etc. I am judging these two on their look. It looks a bit creepy, frankly. So, I don't know if they did this on purpose, probably not, but it works out well. And then here, that's the house that was mentioned earlier. It's sprayed on burlap. That's what it looks like from outside. Painted an earthy light yellow and saddled with snow, Little John's house, which he calls his carnival tent, seems to blend naturally with the surrounding hillside. And inside the house is all droops and bulges, a shaggy rug, leads through a flowing arch into the conversation pit, which would be here behind, as freeform windows dance in the background, which are the same ones that we see here from outside. And I have to say, I do love how this looks. There's the conversation pit with kind of these openings here in the back. They even have a fire going. I don't know, it looks kind of cozy when everything is round like this. There's a neighbor's child on a first visit, discovering a skylight in Jamie's bedroom, and the floor beneath her is covered with foam rubber pads upholstered in striped velvet. And it says it's light and airy and wondrously unpredictable. But I'm guessing, since I haven't heard of sprayed on burlap houses since, it might not have been the best thing to create. But it reminds me a bit of like the 100 Wasserhaus that we have here in Vienna, where you have no right angles in the house. And so the thought behind it was that it feels a lot more natural to us humans when everything flows and is rounded. You wouldn't have hard edges in nature. Another car ad. And then at the end there are some photographs from an exhibition of Soviet photography, USSR Photo 70. It says the Soviets showing off their sense of humor. It says here, surprise, rest, trombones and shadows. And while the grandchildren are at school. And I guess fittingly they finish with a cigarette ad. It does feel very 70s. So I hope you enjoyed this little look through Life magazine from over 50 years ago. Can you believe it? I thought it was really fascinating. Thank you for sending it, Mandy. That was a really great surprise. Alright, so thank you for watching, and I will see you again next week.